Now this is the fly I'm going to be tying. This kind of hairy beastie is, that's basically what it is a daddy long legs, or the right name would be a crane fly. And it's a pattern that for a fly, a terrestrial fly, gets blown onto the lochs and the lakes and rivers in the UK and Ireland. And it's very popular. Now what I've done here is I've actually used the hedgehog, or the hedgehog style pattern, to float the actual the daddy long legs. And as you can see within that, it's you can make it out that it's a daddy long legs, obviously with the legs. But this is a pattern I tied many years ago. I wrote about it in Trout and Salmon, and it's always fished well. There was basically a mayfly pattern that did much the same, which was also very popular, and it's still being fished today. And I see it's still in it's in the Full and Mill catalogue. So it's a great pattern. It's very simple to tie. A lot of patterns can be mixed and matched, or like this is representing the daddy long legs using a known pattern, a known style, like the hedgehog, and it's just a good combination that works. Now the hook I'm using, this is a full mill hook. It's a medium. It's an all rounder. It's an all purpose type hook. It's good for wets. It's good for dries, and it's one I like. You could, with this size of fly, you could go like even heavier with the hooks. There's not a great deal of difference, but this style works really well. Now thread I'm going to be using is a Uni 80. In this case, it's a tan. So I have waxed the thread. So I'm going to take the thread all the way down. A nice base of thread down, right along the shank. So basically just leave a space around it. I would stop and close to the point of the hook, just at that point there. This gives you plenty when you're on, say, catch and release. You can get a hold of the bend without destroying the fly. And it suits this pattern as well. Now for the wing of the hedgehog, obviously use the deer hair. This is a Roe Deer. It's a nice well marked colour. Now I'm going to put, well basically this is the wing really. It's part of the whole wing, though it's going to be tied in like a tail. So we just cut it away. I'm going to remove any rubbish at the base and then broken ends. Now you could stack it. Now these are actually well marched up, but I'll stack it anyway. Just tips first into the stacker, tap on your desk, and the tips should be lined up. You're looking for at least round about shank length over the back. So then we trim away what we don't need. Tie that on. Now there's going to be a red tag on this, so this is about the length of the red tag. Now the reg is an optional thing, it's just a good aiming point for this fly. Just keep pinch and hold the deer hair on top. There we are. Now the tail, basically this is going to help separate the legs. It's unusual to be tying the legs in at the back, but this is how it works. It works really well being tied there. Helps to hold the fly up, and it's normally you can, if you don't like it at the back, you can always tie it further up. But the legs are on at the back. So I'm going to take 6 pre-knotted pheasant tail legs. Now just bring them 90 degrees from the stem of the feather. Now what I'm going to do before I tear them away is separate them 3 and 3 obviously, to be either side of the deer hair. The length you're looking, daddy long legs are very long, so they're at least 1.5 inches or so. So make sure you've got plenty of leg there. So I'm just using the deer hair to keep these separated. It's best to tie them in like that because you'll see how it sets. Good trail. It's a lot of movement in the legs, especially sitting at the back. So trim this away, tidy this up. Come back up. Now I'm just going to use a red, in this case seal's fur. So I lightly dub it on. Now I'm just going to work towards the legs, coming through with the thread coming back up, just to tighten up the tag. Yeah, I've used different colour tags at the back. It's just a good aiming point, and when you're fishing loch style flies, having things like that does help. especially for wild brown trout. They do like red. Now, next we build up our wing, so we need more deer here. Just repeat what we just did for the first part. So we just again trim it close to the skin, make sure there's no broken ends. Tips into the stacker. Tap on your desk. Tips should be lined up. Some broken ends in there, just make sure they're out of the way. Now what we're going to do here is make sure that we're kind of slightly tapered. So we're separating the wing. Basically it is the same length, but we're slightly further up, so it'll give you a shorter looking wing, or shorter part of the wing anyway. So we tie this in, trim away the waist, do the same again. We have the body. I'm just going to use a blended dubbing of my own. This is just it's Hare's body fur. There's a bit of mask in there as well, and there's a tiny wee bit of UVs you can probably see. You don't have to use this, it's just a dubbing blend that I've done. I use it for quite a few flies, and when you're tying your own flies you can mess about with dubbins. So again, I'm just going to dub it on, run it to the wing, bring the thread through it, which is ribbon it like, strengthen it up. And don't be shy with the dubbing, it's a big fly this. Come up about maybe 3 or 4 mil. And again we're going to go back to our deer here. Trim it close to the skin, open out the fibres, take away any under fur or broken ends. Tips in to the stacker. Tap the desk, there we go. Again, we're going to do the same. Measure the length, trim away the excess, pinch hard, come down with a pinch and loop, keeping the deer hair on top. Holding the wing tight in your fingers will stop it rotating round the shank. And there we are, let's see where we are. To be honest with you, these are sometimes rougher the better. Just got a wee broken end there, I'll just take it away. There you go. And again, tiny bit more dubbing in front, this tidies up. We've tied in the deer here, just again we can build up to the wing. Tiny bit more dubbing. Come back through. Again, this is basically ribbing it, tightening it up slightly. Make sure it's nice and strong. There we go. Now we tie in the wing. Now I'm just using up some of these large hackles. This was like basically this is an Indian mixed with like a Grizzle type Cree. So there's all different colours in there. It's been dyed grey, so just to give the impression of the wing. I'm using up the large feathers at the top. Got 2 large feathers here. Don't be shy with them. Just lay one on top of the other. Make sure the tips are lined up. Just going to draw back some of the fibre, don't need it all. So we tie these straight on top. Get the length. Now the length, you really need to see the wings, so don't be shy with it. So, I mean it's a good inch. So basically what I'm going to do is set this right on top, even tying in some of the fibres which helps to give you grip. Nice and tight. It's a couple of turns here, making sure it's not going to move. Wax the thread. And then if you look, it's sitting a bit straight. So what we do is we just separate the wing. See how it's separated? Give the impression of the wing. And then we take the thread onto it, which locks them in place, and trim away the waist. Again, a wee bit more wax. Run it down, come back up. Now, tiny bit of dubbing just in front here. I would say I would prefer that just a mil or two closer towards the eye. So by doing that wee bit of dubbing helps to fill that area. Now we've got more of our deer here. Again, make sure it's clear at the bottom. Tips in the stacker, tap at your desk. And finish it off like an elk hair type caddis wing. Same length, but this time we're not going to trim. So you're going to keep the deer hair long, nice and tight on top, a couple of pinching loops with the thread. And then what I'm going to do is just take the thread in between the cut ends, heading towards the eye. Which is basically making sure it's nice and tight. Now I'm going to go back to my dubbing, just a tiny bit of dubbing. Give it like a very good head-like. Down front, just tidies things up. A bit of varnish onto your thread and then we're going to whip finish. So back the deer hair just now. Tighten up. We trim our deer hair. Just bring out these cut end fibres. If we take our time, we'll find them. Just hold them up. You may miss one or two, but we can always trim them. Trim at an angle. You've got to remember this fly is going to be pulled, or it could be, you could be cast out and target and rising fish. But a lot of the time, this is a good top fly if you're fishing low set of style. This would be the top dropper. See how things are sitting. There we go. And that's basically your Hedgehog Daddy. It's a very simple pattern. You can change the body colours. I've done a few different colours. I've had them all red or orange, hare's ear, or any type of natural dubbing. You could even use just the thread, it's up to yourself. But it's a good style, a good pattern. If you're pulling this across or using it, lifting it through a wave, the top dropper, it will certainly bring fish up. They do have a good go at it, but it will certainly, if the other flies that's hanging below it, as many times I've taken fish. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. That's a good pattern. It's certainly worth having. It's worth tying smaller sizes as well. This is a 10, 12s, even 14s. I've tied them small, so they're very hopper-like, and they still work really well. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoy the videos, please subscribe, and thank you for watching.